Hey everyone, welcome back to Alchemy with Zero Phase. I'm Eric, and I want to go through some of the other functions of my Stable Diffusion prompt generator. Last time we talked about the ability to add the negative prompt as well as blending. Today we're going to go through the different versions of, different examples of what I call multi-prompting. Requesting multiple prompts. Also, the one of the newer features that I put in was when you request something that's photorealistic, it will add details about the camera equipment that could have possibly been used to create the image. What I found, and this applies to almost any model, but especially the photorealistic models, is that when it's given camera information, it just something about it, I think it has something to do with how a lot of photos that the AI was trained on have metadata in them regarding camera, like the camera model, the make and model, and possibly even lens information. So I've set it up so that if you make a request for a photoreal prompt, it will include camera information, and when coupled with a photoreal model, the results are just fantastic. The coherence really comes together. You get things like depth of field and different. You can request things that cameras can do, like telephoto, macro, things like that. So I want to kind of go through that and just step through each one because I think this is going to be really fun. It's been really cool being able to use that with multi-prompt in generating or finding an inspiration. I guess that's really what it comes down to. When you can request 5, 10, 15, or even 50 prompts of different styles or different subject matter, you get wide variety of ideas and inspiration presented to you. So let's kind of dive into this. I'm going to start off with multi-prompting. So as you can see, I'm in Stable Diffusion here. I've got Illuminati Diffusion. I'm actually going to start off, we're going to switch back over to the Dreamlike Photoreel. This is one of my favorite ones to work with when dealing with photorealistic images. It's just trained really well. More often than not, fingers turn out well. Proportions, in fact, I rarely ever use the restore faces anymore because of this. So I've got a couple pre-made requests that we're going to use. So we're going to jump back over to ChatGPT here. I've already got my new version, the 3.0 version of my Stable Diffusion prompt generator put in. We're going to put in this request. So we want to request 5 prompts, professional photo of 1700 style pioneers gathered around a wooden table outside for dinner. Okay. We're just going to throw that in there. And what you're going to see here, a couple different things. And this is just based on my workflow. So when I make requests for multiple prompts before, you get the prompts, right? And you put them into Stable Diffusion and request it. And because I'm using a common beginning, so all of my prompts start with this. I've had some interesting feedback on that, but I find that I think it helps my images turn out amazing. So, but because I do this, and the way Stable Diffusion is set up is it creates a folder based on the prompt, and so it's creating this folder with a common beginning for all of my prompts. And so I found out I have a folder that probably has 2,000 to 3,000 images in it. And to go in and find and sort through all those images to try and find the ones I want, yes, I can sort by date. It just seems a little cumbersome. I didn't want to have to worry about that. So what I built into my prompt generator is the ability to assign an ID to the beginning of the prompt. This does not seem to affect the image. Maybe it does because obviously it's AI, but the AI looks at this word or this ID and obviously doesn't know what to do with that. It's not a token that it's familiar with, so it just pretty much disregards it. But what this does is it creates a folder with a unique ID at the beginning of it, and then the rest of it kind of fills in right there. So you get a folder for each generation. So like with this one right here, we had it create 5 prompts, and I can take this and we go into Stable Diffusion here. Well, let's get this all set up. We're going to be doing some photorealistic, and these are not really portraits. We're just going to use my standard prime negative prompt, or negative prompt, and we're just going to do this quick. Let's set this up as a wide format. So we're going to do 16 by 9. So for those of you who don't know, this little drop down menu here is part of an extension that called aspect ratio helper. Okay, and if you're wondering, by default it doesn't give this to you here. Okay, I know this is kind of a little side note, but I have had people ask me about it, and I figure I better just address this right now. If you go under extensions, settings, and you find the aspect ratio helper, and then up at the top there's an option here that says enable JavaScript aspect ratio controls. Okay, select that, make sure you're on aspect ratio dropdown, and save, apply, refresh the interface, and you should have this little drop down here. Okay, so we're going to take those prompts. We got 5 prompts. We're going to come down here to script. We're going to select prompts from file or text box. We're going to paste this in here. Okay, so those are all our prompts. Each one has an ID. As it gets generated, they'll all be thrown. Any images we generate with any of these prompts will all be thrown into the same folder because I'm using a common beginning here. And I mean, it's up to you. You can actually specify in the request to say no label, and if you don't want it to do that. I mean, if you want it all thrown into the same folder, whatever, that's fine. But by default, when you make a request for multiple prompts, it'll typically give you this. So again, we're working with AI. I'd say 90 to 95% of the time it gives you a random ID, and we'll add that to the file name. So we got those in there, and let's go ahead and generate this. We got everything else set up. Yep, so we're going to generate on that. Give that a minute here to generate. Okay, so it is interesting. AI is very random on some things. So if we come down here and look at these prompts, the first one, a captivating photo of 1700 styles pioneer, their weathered faces illuminated by soft sunlight, gathered around a rustic wooden table set for dinner. Okay, so it gives you that, and it gives you camera information here too, and we'll talk about that later. So that first image gives you this. I'm not sure why there's no pioneers involved in there, but then the next image comes up, we got that. I mean, gorgeous image. It kind of does some vignetting around the edge. Then we get this one here. I'm not sure what's going on there. And then another one here. That's not bad. It's pretty good. And then that one right there. That one's awesome. Although, I'm not sure what's going on with this lady right here. So yeah, we can go through and request a couple others here. Let's as some more examples. Let's come back here, get rid of that, and then let's go ahead and we're going to change this up a little bit. We're going to put in 10 prompts, abstract oil painting of a dog in different scenes. Okay, save and submit that. Again, we get the ID, standard beginning. This time, because I'm not specifying photo or professional, those are the trigger words that I programmed into the prompt generator. So as you use this, it will, based on your request, if you request a professional photo or even photo, it will include camera information. If you don't, if you specify something else like oil painting, abstract, typically it will not include the camera information. In fact, again, we're dealing with AI. It's very rare that it'll ever include that if you're specifying a different medium, okay? Because, I mean, it's intuitive. It says, oh, well, when we're doing an oil painting, you're not painting with a camera or anything like that. So it's a little interesting. It's good that way. It's nice that the AI is very intuitive and very smart that way and will adjust based on your request. So as you can see, we got down here, it looks like to the last one. We're going to hit continue just to get that last prompt in there, hopefully. And there we go. Okay. So this will bring up a little thing to be aware of. So when you copy this and go back over to Stable Diffusion, and we paste this in here, we're going to select all, paste it in. So come down here, you know where it paused and we had to continue. You got to make sure that you adjust that. There's some sort of a line break that GPT puts in. So just hit backspace a couple times. Make sure it's lined up so that Stable Diffusion understands it. Let's go ahead and render those out. Let's see, this is, we're doing abstract oil painting. I don't want the photoreal. We're actually going to jump over to Illuminati, I think. Actually, let's do RPG on this one. This is the Artist Tools, RPG Artist Tools. This is a fantastic model, so well trained. And we're going to be doing this, again, wide format. We're going to leave it at that resolution because I think that'll work better. Although RPG does tend to work pretty good even at the higher resolutions. Let's go ahead and generate that. And with the settings I got, it tends to go through this pretty quick. I mean, this is going to be so awesome to use to inspire. You know, maybe you have a general idea of what you want. You know, you want to do some sort of image of an animal or a dog or, you know, or people, or even a more abstract scene. And we'll go through some more here in a little bit. But then just to have it, just throw those out. All those prompts, throw them in there. I know I'm only doing one image per prompt, but you could throw that up to, you know, have it render out 10 per prompt, so you can get some really good inspiration on this idea you might have. Okay, this is what I found just absolutely profound about being able to do this. And as you can see, we're getting some pretty cool images around our canine friends here. That one's an awesome one. He's just kind of this curious dog looking to explore. Yeah, I mean, these are just beautiful representations of, you know, some abstract art using dogs. So I mean, this is just one example. Let's do one more here, and we'll leave it on the RPG model. We're going to come over here. We're going to make a request for this. Again, these are all requests I've typed up again to save time, and just show off some of the cool stuff you can do. So we're going to do 5 prompts with labels, 5 beautiful. So here's a little hitch with the prompt generator. When you're requesting multiple prompts, if your request gets a little long, you may have to adjust how you're requesting. So when I was originally kind of working with this, and we'll see what it does this time, I'd say 5 prompts, comma, 5 beautiful women dressed in 5 different colors. Okay, anyway. And it wasn't giving me the ID or the label. So I went ahead, because in the generator, I'm calling it a label. By putting this in here, it ensures that it gets put in. So we're going to save and submit that. And we're going to get 5 prompts of those different scenes. And what's cool about this, and we'll go through this later on about theming your requests. You can request different themes, and the AI is so smart in being able to adjust and do that. So let's grab those, come back over here. Let's throw those in. Generate those. Oh, that's a cool one. That's very dynamic. Little action going on there. Let's see, what does it say? Stunning digital illustration woman in a sleek silver futuristic gown. Intricate metallic. Let's see, futuristic elegance. Details captured. And it's not really specifying action, but it was cool that it did that. Yep. it is pretty cool that, so we're asking it to do different color themes, are we? Let's see, like crimson futures. Yeah, so we asked for different color themes. And look at this. So we got a kind of a silvery theme. We got blue, crimson or red. Let's blow this up. Green or emerald. Purple. Yeah, it's fantastic. You can just throw out a number of prompts, all testing different, different themes or styles very quickly. So let's move on to one other that I want to show off here. We're going to throw this one in here. This time we're going to request. This is if you really want to get a load of images of different things. So 50 prompts for different digital illustrations of beautiful women wearing different clothing. Or it's just going to be going through doing simple prompts. That was one of the modifications I did to this new version of the prompt generator as well. It seemed to me like the previous versions, the prompts that it would generate seemed a little too verbose, and which is, fine. Obviously, Stable Diffusion adjusts and it figures it out. But what I found is I like the initial prompts to be fairly concise. Okay. Now, what's cool about this? So we got a whole bunch of prompts here, and each one, there may be some that have similar aesthetics, but each one's going to be different. But every one of these images, when we generate them, are going to be in the same folder, separate from all the other images, allowing you to kind of file and store them a lot more easily, a lot easier, whatever. So I'm not going to let it generate the whole thing. I mean, we can hit continue here, and obviously it should, as long as GPT isn't being funky. Sometimes their servers are so busy that it'll pause and error out, and it'll ask you to regenerate the whole thing. So, we can grab this, and the prompts that we do have here. Let's grab those. Let's throw those in. We'll pause the video and just generate a whole ton of these here. Throw those in. Let's get rid of this last one here since it wasn't complete. Scroll up just real quick. Look for those ones that got kind of separated. Make sure that they get recombined. I think it was twice. Let's see. Oh no, we only did it the continue once. Okay, good. So we got those in there. We're doing wide format. I'm actually going to change that. Let's switch this to 5x4, and we're going to reverse that so it is taller than it is. So basically a portrait framing. And let's do, let's leave it on the RPGRs, because some of these prompts could be set in a sci-fi scene, whatever, and this just tends to do better. So you can switch it over to Illuminati. It does really good. That's one of my favorite models. So let's, I'm going to hit generate on that. We'll pause the video for a little bit because this is going to take a minute and come back to it. Awesome. Okay, it's done. Kind of go through these here. These are, again, this is just an amazing way to build up inspiration. To try out just a swath of different styles that maybe you would never have even thought of, That's one of the fascinating things about using GPT for this, is that because it has such an amazing, I don't know if you want to call it a database or whatever, of words and things, styles that I don't even know. Like, it comes up with phrases and words that I've never even heard of. And, whether or not Stable Diffusion or the models in Stable Diffusion know those words or not, I think more often than not it does. They do. And you get just an amazing result. And by using the prompt generator, it allows you to generate those without really putting a lot of effort into it. So, just a quick side note. Last night I was at my parents' house, and my dad was, I was telling him a little bit about Stable Diffusion. He's asked, like, what's Stable Diffusion? And what is prompting? I don't get that. And so I started showing him. I let him take my phone because I've got it set up on my phone so that you can I can do Stable Diffusion with that. And I'm like, this is where you would put in your request. So just tell it what you want to see. And so he does. He puts he dictates something into it, and we submit it, and it creates this kind of image. And he's like, yeah, but I don't understand like how this is done. I'm like, well, let's go into my prompt generator and let's put that same request you just put in, and let's see what the prompt generator comes up with. And so it does, and it comes up with this absolutely amazing prompt. And we pull that over into Stable Diffusion, and the image it generated was so much better. It just fantastic image, and he was just floored. He's like, why would I try to think that up myself? Like, I'll come up with the basic idea, but it was so nice. He loved the idea that he had something that would help him generate an effective prompt. And that's where I see this happening. I mean, whether you're a professional or a beginner, this prompt generator is going to be it's going to be huge in helping you to really dive into this. One last example, we're going to separate. We're going to do another video on, well, let's see if we can fit the photorealistic stuff in here. But I want to do one more thing. We're going to show you how to do chain prompting. And maybe we've shown this. I know in my manual, or excuse me, in the guide for the ChatGPT 3.0, or excuse me, the Stable Diffusion for ChatGPT 3.0, whatever thing that I put up, I do this. So what we're going to do is, I want an image of, let's do a soldier on a battlefield. I guess that's all one word. Sorry, cleared my throat. Okay, so it gives us this nice basic prompt, and let's say we want to modify that. Let's say let's rewrite to add. Oh, let's see. How would we put that? Let's say change to add winter as the season. It should rewrite it. So a brave soldier braves a harsh winter on the battlefield. Snowflakes were okay. So it did change it so that it's winter. Make the soldier female. And changes it so it's female. Add a little more detail. And it adds a little more detail, expanding the prompt. So be creative with this. Try not to think, I don't know how to put that. Think outside the box a little bit. You know, if you think it won't do something, give it a try and try it. I think you'd be surprised at how often it will do it. All right, so I want to go in and talk about the photorealistic stuff. I've touched on it a few times. Let's just go in here and try this out. So let's say professional photo of, I don't know, a businessman in a city. So it's going to do a basic prompt, professional photo of businessman. It emphasizes businessman. It's obviously very important to the scene. Confident and composed, and then adds the potential camera and lens information and the style. So it adds a well-known photographer to this. So I mean, if we take this, throw this over here, we're going to shut down this. Okay. We're going to switch this over to a photoreal one. Dreamlike, I think, will work fine for this. Switch it over to portrait, my negative prompt for portraits, and just hit generate. Okay. Here we got a professional man. He's got, he's in a city somewhere. We could change that up, or we can render out multiples. Stick that up to 4. See what kind of variations we get on that, since we only rendered one image. And that guy's looks like he's probably in his, I don't know, late 40s, 50s maybe. And we're going to get a range of different scenes. Very well put together. Everything looks pretty balanced. Kind of a dynamic scene there where he's caught in mid-step. That's cool. Yeah, like that one there could be stock photography right there. That's awesome. Very well composed. So, again, you can even experiment with different time periods on this. I did do a prompt, I don't know, it was yesterday or something like that, where I requested a professional photo. In fact, let's see if we can do this here. Professional photo of a early 1900s coal miner. This isn't the same prompt. I just want to see if it'll do it. It actually came up with camera equipment from the time. I'm not sure, not sure about that. I'm not super familiar with camera equipment, but I'd just love to see, what this does. The AI, again, is just ridiculously smart in knowing how to associate that with your request. And so let's see what it comes up with here. I absolutely believe that having the camera reference there improves the overall quality of images that you want to be photorealistic. Something about the images that it was trained on, yeah, I would never use restore face on that. I'd take that into upscale, and you get so much detail in that. Yeah, fantastic. So play around with that. It's a fantastic feature. If you're getting camera information in a request that you don't want camera information in, specify. Just if we want to tack that on the end here, we'll just say no camera info. So, and because you're saying no camera, you can still request a professional photo, and it'll give you a really good prompt, but it'll leave out the camera information, which is cool. So play around with it. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be coming up with another video here where we're going to go through some fun things you can do with this prompt generator, whether it's requesting different themes, or requesting, I guess, the structured prompting for doing things like the what was it, the composable LoRa, latent couple. We went through that in another video. We may touch on it again. It's a fun one to experiment with. I've had some people, talk about that a little bit. So yeah, we're definitely exploring this. It's got a lot of functionality. If you haven't bought the prompt, yeah, head over to my store, shop.zerophase.com. I'll link to it in the bottom, and get your copy. Once you get your copy, if you join our Discord, just put a request. When you make your order, or when I see it, I'll say, I'll send you a message, invite you to the Discord, and we'll grant you permission to the Discord channel that has the updates and the previous versions of the the prompt generator that I'm working on. So I'm updating it all the time, getting ideas on things that we can put into it, different functionality. We have an active community where we are experimenting and showing off different things that we do with it. So yeah, have fun with it. Like and subscribe to our channel and this video, share it with others, and we'll talk to you in the next video.